Hera, why do all dogs like treats?
Hans, I don't think that's correct.
Oh, really? Can you prove that I'm wrong and not all dogs like treats?
Let's try to examine your statement scientifically by using a method called hypothesis testing.
That sounds intimidating. Can you explain?
Sure, you made a statement. All dogs like treats. If we want to examine the veracity of your statement, we start by calling this statement a hypothesis, which is a scientific term for an assumption.
Okay, so how are you going to prove that my hypothesis is correct or incorrect?
Well, here is the tricky part. As I cannot ask every dog if they like treats, would you accept that if I find even one single dog that doesn't like treats, then your hypothesis must be wrong?
Yes, that seems reasonable.
And don't you think it would be somewhat easier to find one dog that doesn't like treats rather than check out all the dogs in the world to see if they like treats?
Yes, of course.
So, now we can form two hypotheses. One is the hypothesis that there is at least one dog that doesn't like treats. We call this hypothesis the null hypothesis. You can think of the null hypothesis as a hypothesis that can nullify your original hypothesis. Your original assumption will be the alternative hypothesis. Let's note two things. First, with these two hypotheses, we have covered every contingency since there are no possible alternative responses. The two hypotheses are also mutually exclusive since they cannot both be right. Second, we will assume that the null hypothesis is true and then see if we can either reject it or not reject it.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
I can conduct a study with a sample size of 100 dogs.
You will give 100 dogs a sample of a treat?
No, Hans. I will ask 100 dogs, drawn from the entire population of all dogs, if they like treats. My sample size is 100 dogs, and I may collect several samples of 100 dogs. Here's the important part. I will assume that the null hypothesis is correct, conduct my study, and based on my observed data, I will either reject or not reject the null hypothesis.
So, if you reject the null hypothesis, does that mean I was right?
Sorry, Hans. The only thing we can talk about is if there is enough evidence to reject or not reject the null hypothesis. Let me give you an example that you may be familiar with. I know you like to watch football, and you know that a coach sometimes challenges a call made by the referees. When the coach challenges the call, the referees go and look at different video clips of the supposed infraction. After having reviewed all available evidence, the referees will make a conclusion if there is enough evidence to overturn their initial call. Importantly, they will never say if the initial call was correct or not.
Okay, I get it. Thank you, Hera.
Hans, sorry to disappoint you, but in one of my samples of 100 dogs, I found a dog that doesn't like treats. I will therefore reject the null hypothesis and conclude that you were wrong to think that all dogs like treats.
Doggone!